Incredibly difficult for my wrist.
A cricket. She used a cricket.
A cricket? Oh, a cricket. Yeah.
Still time consuming.
Still hard.
Don't lose that. You're not getting another one.
No, I won't lose it. I will not lose it. Did you see the back of Alicia? Jackson and Mardi.
I saw it.
My head. It's so cute. He was so proud of that reindeer, even though it's not a reindeer, but he was very proud of it. So cute.
I'm going to go ahead and call the Tuesday, February 1st, 2022 meeting of the Oldsmar City Council to order. First two items on the agenda is the invocation and pledge of allegiance. Please rise. Before our city attorney leads us in the invocation and the pledge, I just wanted to take a moment of silence as we remember Loretta Wyatt, who we heard the news today of her passing. She was a former council member, an activist in this community for many years, and she will definitely be missed.
Tom, thank you. Our Heavenly Father, we come humbly before you in a time of sorrow. The death of Loretta Wyatt burdens our hearts, a burden shared throughout the city of Oldsmar. We pray that you will comfort Loretta's sons, Dennis and Dana, as well as her 4 grandchildren and 3 great-grandchildren, and welcome Loretta into your heavenly kingdom. We remember Loretta and recognize her for her many talents and her commitment to the city of Oldsmar as a council member, as a member of the Top of the Bay Garden Club, the Cultural Affairs Advisory Board, and the Ordinance Review Committee. We are hopeful that your grace and love will be with Loretta's family and those present here tonight who share in their pain and loss. This we pray.
Amen.
Amen.
Make us all cry.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God.
Thank you, Tom. That was very nice. Next item on the agenda is our Citizens Open Forum. We only have a few rules. One, we ask that you not speak longer than 5 minutes, that you give your name and address, include the city as well. We also ask that you not speak to any item on here that's a public hearing, which tonight we do have a public hearing, which is item number 11. So we'd ask that you hold your comments until that time. All right, and with that, I'm going to go ahead and start on this side of the room.
Brought some props. Doug Beavis, 359 Bay Arbor Boulevard, Oldsmar, also candidate for seat 2. One quick thing, I don't follow the Oldsmar community page. It can tend to be somewhat toxic, but I do sometimes hear things, and I just want to comment on one thing about the conflict of interest between me working for the Chamber of Commerce and me running for city council. Currently, I'm just a citizen with a job, and it's not a conflict of interest. If in fact I'm elected to the city council, the chamber leadership will meet with the city leadership and the attorney, and we feel that there's a workaround, and so if that's the case, we will address that. But currently is not a conflict of interest, so thank you. Next, and I apologize, Dan, this isn't personal, but I keep hearing the 30 balls and 65 balls in the box and the getting higher. And so if I could, I'd like to give my version of it that I think might add some clarity for some people that may not understand the density issue. This is a density incentive, and it's to increase the number of units from 30 to 65. The key thing is units has no defined size. It's just a word, units. So A times B equals C. C is the box. It has a defined height. Imagine this, use your imagination. This is a 6-story building with a defined footprint. That is set. That's never been wanted to change in any of these scenarios. And so let's look at the 30 units. So A is the 30 units, and C is the size of the box. And so I give you this. This is the size of a unit. This could be your typical 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom apartment complex unit that we see all over Pinellas County and Hillsborough County. And I give you this, 30 units in this box. a defined box. And to use Councilmember Siraki's scenario, if we just changed A to 65 and we kept B and C the same size, obviously they wouldn't fit in the box. So what has to change? So if A changes to 65, but the box stays the same size, we obviously have to change the size of the units. And I want it to be understood that this is what's been talked about for a long time. These are proposed to be studio apartments, one-bedroom apartments, and two-bedroom apartments. So A times B equals C. So here's 65 units. And they fit. So I just want it to be understood that it's been said, and I apologize, Dan, that it's not going to get higher. It's never been proposed to get higher. It's not a height incentive. The footprint is the same as actually the city manager mentioned in her letter today. The footprint is the same. The height is the same. So what has to change is the sizes of units. So studios, one bedrooms, and two bedrooms. Actually, it may actually produce less people than a two-bedroom or a three-bedroom standard apartment might. So I keep hearing this, and my name gets tagged to this density thing, and I'm willing to go out and talk to people about this because it's really not that. It's not going to get higher. It's not the same size ball. So I hope that this brings some clarity to some people that may not quite understand the density thing and the number of units. The units, again, do not have a size. They're not 100 square feet. They're not 1,000 square feet. A tiny house is a unit, and so is a 10-bedroom house. So that term, I think, is being misrepresented sometimes. So I hope that adds some clarity. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Is there anybody else on this side of the room? Yes, sir.
My name's Kennard Swanson. I'm at 785 Dunbar. I represent Superior Heating and Cooling Management, Incorporated. I just want to talk about bipolarization, what we got going on with COVID right now. We got a major problem with indoor air, and an American engineering firm has actually solved the problem. Now we can bring the outdoor process of bipolarization indoors. And the test market came to us about a decade ago. They wanted us to test market it, and I handle that. Emily Arena was the first to be bipolarized. Well, when a new science comes to market, they take the kinks out of it. There was a kink in it. It took 5 years for the test market to be completed. This engineering firm out of St. Louis called New Calgon, they're one of the best HVAC products, sciences, engineering firms you could get. They perfected it with something called I-Wave technology. It stands alone. It's a monopoly. It's here. It actually puts 400 million ions per cubic centimeter into the home. And they base ionization about how many ions you can get per cubic centimeter. So basically it kills all positive ions. Our biggest problem right now, yes, it's COVID. USA Insider Today did an article in 2020 in April saying it's a secret weapon to COVID-19. Well, it is. We don't want positive ions. They're what's in the home. Indoor air does not clean itself. Outdoor air cleans itself between 5,000 and 7,000 ions per cubic centimeter. By putting that much ionization into the home, it catches everything, particulates out of the air. Sun comes through the window, you see nothing. The biggest part of this, what caught my eye when they first brought the technology to us, is it kept the inside coils clean. And I was thinking, wow, that's gonna save money because that's your electric bill. We're in Florida. We get a lot of mold. Air conditioners are dark, damp, and there's a water source. It creates mold. Right now, the EPA has said up to 90% of colds and flus are actually misdiagnosed to mold spores. And believe me, open an air conditioner now after a year. We used to clean coils every 3 to 5 years. Now you're cleaning them every year. The air quality has gotten worse. And the reason why I like this technology so much is it isn't just a secret weapon to COVID and the variants. It's the VOCs, our kids, our grandchildren. The VOCs are the volatile organic compounds, which are man-made materials indoors. So our kids are getting cancer 20, 30 years down the road. They're relating it back to the VOCs, which actually I mean, we're talking millions, and this is from the EPA. Actually, California did the first indoor air study in the state, and they did it on the VOCs. So we just don't have cancer, we just don't have mold spores. We just ain't got the COVID now, and it don't look like it's going away. It's real. And our indoor air does, if you're educated, you will clean your indoor air. That's a fact. And the best part about it is it cuts the electric bill. It does keep the coils clean. I've been dealing with this science for 10 years now, a decade. New Calgon knocked it out of the park. They perfected it. There is no other technology that stands in there. It's solid state. It's 15 years. It needs no maintenance. UV lights came out 30 years ago. They had nothing else. They brought them in to kill the mold. Most people are the ones that were educated to it, because I'm old enough to know, I know when they first came out. This bipolarization works. I've seen it. It's in homes, it's in businesses. It started in Georgia, it's in Florida now, and we gotta educate, because if we don't educate, no one's gonna applicate. It's operating, basic layman terms, it's operating room air, and it works. If it's installed correctly, it puts out that ionization, it takes out odors, particulates in the air, and believe me, for the future, for our kids and our grandchildren, it's something I want to bring since we've been in Oldsmar 30 years. I would really like to get with the city, and we need to educate people that you got to clean your air today. That's a fact. There isn't, and the USA Insider today, that investigation they did in 2020, they're right on. It is the secret weapon to COVID-19 because it annihilates all positive ions in the home. Those are what we don't want. WebMD did a 2003 study on how many negative ions are in the home. We need negative ions. Breathe 80% up our nostrils, 20% is inhaled by our skin. That's why I said the masks don't work, because we breathe 80% up our nose. The other 20% is inhaled by our skin. So basically you gotta wear a spacesuit indoors if you're gonna, so masks never worked. I know if you know the biology of it. So basically what we got right now is we got new science, biology, history. Bipolarization was discovered in 1860 by a British chemist, and it wasn't until this American engineering firm in Georgia named Global Plasma Solutions brought it into the point of contact, which is your air conditioning into the home.
Sir, I'm sorry, your time expired.
Okay, I appreciate y'all. I just wanted to get that out.
Thank you. Thank you. Is there anybody else on this side of the room? Anybody on this side of the room? Suda.
Couple of hats tonight. Suda Yantis Cologne, 402 Arlington Avenue East, Oldsmar, Florida. I love my town. We all know that. Tonight, I am here to remind everybody that Oldsmar Friends of the Arts, one of our newest supporters of our performing arts programs for the city of Oldsmar, is getting ready to have our Mardi Gras Gala 2022. And this will be our first event that we're hoping to hold annually. We will be including, it will be Tuesday, March 1st, Fat Tuesday. That runs a little conflict with council, but we hope you can come before or after. We will have dinner, dancing, live and silent auction, door prizes, contest, wear your Mardi Gras best, because we'll be giving away prizes for that. It'll also be featuring dance performances and theater performances by our students. It's open for all ages from 6 to 7, and from 7 to 9, we kick the kids out and the bar opens up. So it will be a great night. There'll be, tickets are $50 per person. They are available online to purchase at OFOTA.org. That stands for Oldsmar Friends of the Arts.org. OFOTA.org. This is benefiting the Opal Theater and Oldsmar Performing Arts programs, including, hopefully, we're hoping to see a new startup of an Oldsmar Community Chorus, which has been asked about quite a bit, and other programs that we hope to support in the future. So mark your calendars, come out for a great event, great entertainment, wear your Mardi Gras best, and we will all celebrate Mardi Gras right here in Oldsmar. Thank you.
All right. Anybody else on this side of the room? Becky?
Good evening, Council, and for those that I haven't seen, Happy New Year. Becky Afonso, 174B, State Street East in Oldsmar. On behalf of the Florida Bicycle Association, a statewide bicycle education advocacy nonprofit, I invite this council, staff, and the residents of Oldsmar to participate on our inaugural Mayor's Bicycle Safety Challenge. This is a simple challenge, utilizing our online bicycle safety quiz to help improve safety on our transportation system by educating cyclists and motorists. I am asking for your consideration to host this challenge during March, Florida Bicycle Month. Cycling, both for recreation and commuting, has grown significantly over the past few years, but with more cyclists and motorists sharing the road, closing the knowledge gap on relevant laws and safety skills is now more important than ever before. It is my hope for this city, where I reside right down the street, to lead by example and encourage folks to take our online bicycle safety quiz. Councilmember Dan Saraki and his wife have taken it, and we're actually sent me a photo so we could do a social media post in October. Got the gold certificate. So I encourage everybody on council, go for the gold. Get the gold certificate, do it during March, and what we can do is we can actually set up a separate link just for Oldsmar and the residents, and then that way we can see the percentage of who's taken it and how far they got. It's actually designed to learn as you go, so if you miss a question, it's gonna correct you and have you go back to answer it. So you actually will learn some misconceptions while learning the proper law and etiquette. So I sent the email this morning. I do appreciate your consideration for this. I'll be happy to work with you. Again, I'm right down the street. I can come over anytime. But I'm gonna leave a copy to Ann because I think she was the only one that didn't receive it. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, do we have anybody else on this side of the room? All right, with that, I'm going to go ahead and close the Citizens Open Forum. Next item on the agenda is the community minute, which will be announced by our city clerk, Ann Nixon.
So we have coffee with the mayor tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock a.m. via the city's Facebook page. Grab your coffee for a conversation with Oldsmar Mayor Eric Seidel. He will provide a brief recap of the city council meeting from the previous night and answer questions from the viewing audience. Oldsmar's Pets Photo Contest, February 1st to 28th. Post photos of your pets on Twitter, Instagram using hashtag #OldsmarPets. Photos can also be submitted online. Check out the photo gallery and vote for your favorite each day. Top 3 photos will receive cool prizes and bragging rights. ExperienceOldsmar.com. Also, pop-up art project, February 14th to March 18th. Residents are encouraged to participate in a puzzle piece mural. Pick up pieces at City Hall. They look like this. Public Library and Rec Center beginning Monday, February 14th. Then use any medium to decorate your puzzle piece. Markers, crayons, bingo things, paste things on it, all sorts of ideas. Yarn, glitter, sparkles. Well, I could see.
Glitter.
Finished pieces will, I'm sorry I brought up the glitter and sparkles. That could be messy. The finished pieces will connect them to a giant mural art installation at City Hall, depicting how everyone is a part of a larger picture and fits together as a community. OldsmarPopUpArt.com. Also, if you love to vote, register by Valentine's Day, because that's the deadline for the March 15th election. Register by February 14th. That's it.
Very good. Very good. Next item on the agenda is the approval of addition of new agenda items. We have 2 new items, items 2 and 3. Does anybody wish to pull anything to discuss? Chair will entertain a motion to approve. So moved. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second and discussion. Sensing you're ready to vote, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, motion passes. Next item on the agenda, awards and recognitions, which presentation of our Council Manager Award for January 2022, which will be presented by our City Manager, Alicia Donner. This is your first one as City Manager, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, look at that.
Yeah, give her a little hand.
Let's show her a little love, yeah.
So for my first Council Manager Award, I would like to recognize Rachel Marshall. So to come on up and join me. And you can stand right here if you want, wherever you want, actually. So, I chose Rachel because she has had unwavering service to the Oldsmar Organic Community Garden. and that's located in Lafayette at Bicentennial Park. And Rachel has been an Oldsmar resident for 23 years, and she lives in Gala Village. She's recently retired from being an X-ray technician for 32 years. That was my mom's field as well, so we talked a lot about that on the phone. And prior to that, I was very impressed. She served in the Army, where she earned her college degree. She spends most of her mornings at the garden, so you can stop by any time to see her from 8 a.m. until noon. Wow. So she's there pretty much 5 days a week. When she's not at the garden, she enjoys biking and walking Oldsmar Trail System, and she loves yoga with Chelsea at the rec center. So when I asked her why gardening, she responded it was in her DNA. As a child in Washington State, she was often in the apple orchards. She told me that gardening brings people to learn together. It's good for the community, and it's good for your personal health. When I asked her why the organic garden, she responded, it needed tending to. And I needed a hobby to keep busy. Well, we sure are happy it was a perfect fit. The garden is very well cared for. Plots are rented, although I think you still have a few available.
And more people coming in. Somebody came in today.
And more people are coming in. And the programs are expanding. They're in the new edition of the magazine. And so we are grateful for your time and your leadership. Thank you for your service to Oldsmar.
Thank you. I just wanted to say, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks to people like the Beaverlands and to Janice Miller who made this possible, and all of the the people before me that handed this over to me. And thanks to the people from the city like Chip, Felicia, I'm trying to think of Deb and Ashley, who have given their support to me. And my board members here, Kathy Merchant and Robert Lovett, who stand behind me 100%. Thank you.
So let's get our picture.
Okay.
Back up a little bit.
Back up.
I'll take your mic.
Let me put my
That way you can get up to the.
Official city photos.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
absolutely. Well, Felicia, I think your first selection was a very good one. So there you go. Good job.
Well
Good
done.
job. All right, the next item on the agenda is the Community Redevelopment Agency. However, I'm going to ask that we suspend the rules of the day so I can move item 9 up further before we get into any lengthy presentations.
Motion to suspend, your mayor?
I have a motion. Do I have a second? Second. I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Santin, you're ready to vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. All right, we'll go right to item number 9. At this time, I'd like to have Kyle come up. And I'm going to have Ken come up and Suda come up. It seems strange that they all came, leisure services all at the same night.
And of course, you don't know any of us.
Who are these guys? No.
Well, for those of you who don't know, we don't always require when we're doing a reappointment for folks to come up, but we just want you to know how much we appreciate your service and all the good work that they're doing on the board, and just say thank you for making Oldsmar a better place.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have a lot of new blood.
Yes, we do.
New blood.
That's the old blood.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Thanks, guys.
And we appreciate you.
All right.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Stetson, you're ready to vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes. At this time, the chair will entertain a motion to return to the rules of the day.
So moved.
I have a motion, I have a second.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion. Stetson, you're ready to vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Getting a little tongue twisted there. All right, motion passes, and we're back to the Community Redevelopment Agency. At this time, we will have a presentation by, I believe, Mr. Buse. Item number 2, to approve the revised conceptual plan submitted by Devon S. Rushnell LLC for the city-owned property located adjacent to the Oldsmar Public Library. Yeah, you want to go ahead.
So on October 6, 2020, the City Council authorized the city manager to enter into negotiations with Devon Rushnell LLC for the purpose of entering into a development agreement for the city-owned property located at the intersection of State Street East and St. Petersburg Drive, adjacent to the Oldsmar Public Library. On February 11, 2021, John Buse presented a proposed conceptual plan at the Community Redevelopment Work Session for the city-owned property. At that meeting, direction was given to resubmit a revised proposal. On April 6, 2021, the City Council approved a revised conceptual plan and authorized the city manager to begin negotiations. There has been substantial progress on the negotiations in addition to modifications to the concept plan. Concept plan modifications include the enlargement of the theater site, reduction of the units to 82, orientation of the units to promote walkability and new urbanism concepts, and the overall architecture. As this is a conceptual plan, it is subject to change after review by appropriate regulatory agency. Staff recommends approval, and I present John Buse to make a formal presentation.
Very good. Mr. Buse, how are you this evening, sir?
Here I am.
There
Good
you
to see
are.
you all again. Pretty cool to see Felicia sitting there. Congrats. Pretty lucky. All right, well, Felicia gave you the high level changes. I wanted to point out a few things that I'll show you in some subsequent slides that'll give you a graphic version of what you'll see in the text. As Felicia mentioned, we lost 14 units. This resulted from several factors: updated survey. We also we had some zoning overlay on a parcel that had less density than we had thought. So all those calculated into the change. It's still a great project. We just lost some unit count, but that's to be expected when you start with a project when you're doing a site plan from Google Earth. So once you get it tidied up, that's what we ended up with. So you'll see a very similar project to what you saw before with some changes that I'll highlight. The enlarged theater parcel, we did that for a couple of reasons. One is we don't know exactly what the theater will look like. We've pulled that out of this project and it's now a separate piece of property. You'll see the old rendering later, but the parcel got substantially deeper because we were concerned, just in a little research we did, of how to get theater equipment in and out of the community and things like that. So we needed more space than we had originally thought. So that's what drove that. The interior units, that means all the units that aren't live work, that are in the middle of the project, we redesigned those to be 2-car garage and front porch facing. So that's a much better improved product. And then we moved the pool and the cabana to the back of the site, which I'll show you as well, into that area that had the lower density. And that freed up the park green in the middle of the community to be much like Hayes Park. We have a fire pit, something to that nature. The live work unit upgrade primarily resulted from the, well, I wanted the architecture to get up. We changed builders, which allowed us to improve the architecture, but we also had an issue of getting from the existing sidewalk to floodplain, which is much higher than it used to be. So you'll see that shortly as well. And then lastly, we worked hard on the gateway. We had talked about it in some earlier images, but we came up with an idea that I think hopefully you'll like, and we'll talk about that momentarily. So these couple of graphics, I just wanted to give you a reference so that when you see the presentation in a moment, you'll be able to connect these dots. So in the back, you'll see the yellow boxes on each side in the top of the page. You'll see on the right, that's what it looks like today. That's a 4-unit parcel, a 4-unit building. There used to be, on the left, you'll see it used to be 8 units. That's the parcel we spoke of that had the overlay requiring the density to be half of what it was before. So we had to lose some units there. In the front, you'll see the white boxes on each side. That's the theater site. And you'll see there was a unit in the back of the theater that's gone, and now that's showing a grass. It won't be grass, but you get the idea. That's the size of the parcel increase. And then in the blue is in the center on the left, you'll see the blue in the center of the site. That's the park green. That was where the pool was. Now that's a park green. On the right, you'll see the pool in the back, which is next to that overlay where we couldn't put any more units. So it made more sense to go there. Those are my three pretty pictures. So next, this is a quick, much better resolution of this in a moment, but this is to show you the same image. On the left is what you saw before, where we had the Oldsmar art, which is now down next here. On the right, you'll see the after, where we have what we think is the runner-up, actually, from that same art contest with the Oldsmar O, where you can sit in. You'll see much better rendering shortly. But you'll see the same shot, and then we have a monument tower in the center of the gate, what we're calling the Gateway Plaza, because as you know, that's the intersection at St. Pete Drive and State. We think it's a pretty important, prominent intersection. So you see a gateway tower there that's kind of identifying the community, as well as we hope that's where the mailboxes are, so that people come and go on a daily basis. The more engaging and active that corner is, the better. This is the Livework street front elevation. Before on the left, still pretty good if I don't say so myself, but on the right, we really changed and upgraded. Bigger porches, more engagement with the street, so that the porches we pulled them out in front all the way to the edge of the property line. And that was to try to engage. We have the staircase. We're trying to get what we'll call, if you look on the left, there's only a few steps up. Well, we were way off on that calculation. It ends up being six to seven, depending on which end of the site you are. And we'll zoom into that architecture shortly. This is just a streetscape from the left, the old corner shot. We also got rid of those expensive palms that are very hard to maintain, because this community, the HOA, will maintain the right-of-way by design, so the city won't. So we put in some crepe myrtles for now. I'm not positive that will be the final tree placement, but it'll give you some ideas. And then this is just a couple quick ones, aerial view to show you can barely see it, but in the back, the yellow box, that's where that the 4-unit plex replaced an 8-plex. And then over to the right, you'll see where there's more space behind the theater. And then this is what I'll call the conservation units. These units face the rear of the pond in the back that are all along the right away. There's a ditch back there. So the architecture on the right is, I hope you'll agree, is significantly more engaging and more playful than the first one, which is a little flat. This has a bigger porch. These are the only units that have a front-facing garage on the project, because we couldn't get around to the on the ditch side. And again, the real presentation shown. I just wanted to give you some quick before and afters, so you could reference them as we move on to what the changes were. Now, I'm gonna load the next one, and we'll get to the. Felicia, do you want to skip these? These are the preliminary floor plans. Can we go to the next PowerPoint, the renderings? I'm not doing that. He's working on that.
It looks good, though.
Yeah, these are some of the technical drawings that will be submitted with when they're formally submitted. Tonight I wanted to show you the pretty pictures, make sure we understand the style of the architecture. While we're waiting, all of the renderings, if you have your packet from April,
yes,
and you have this packet, they are if the same image of the new and the old. So you could have the two packages side by side at home, turn the page. There's a few extras I added on the new one, but overall, if you turn the page, it's page for page for page. So the rendering, you'll start to notice that. But I just wanted you guys, so when you're looking on your own, you could tell what changed. You could look at it more closely because it's the same exact rendering, or same shot from the same spot on the site. And then we also took some liberty on the second place artwork by showing you that, because that was a really close second place. So we did inquire that was available. We can still purchase that. The developer is going to purchase that artwork.
Oh, wow.
But it hasn't been approved by you. So we took some liberty to show you what almost was the first place winner, and a really great spot for it in the site. So we'll show some zoomed in images of that kind of theatrical O. It's lighted. It's got a place to sit in. It's really kind of cool, representing the O in Oldsmar was the idea. But as far as colors and things go, I would look to you or the arts, the committee to pick colors and things of that nature. We're just showing you the same one that was presented at the submission for the original artwork.
Gotcha.
We're in business.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay, so the front cover page here, I just changed the date. Very creative. You're welcome. This is the same images you saw. I just shot them again so you could compare them. Again, please don't get hung up on the design of the theater. It looks awesome, but it might not look exactly like that. It would be maybe bigger, right, Suda?
Hard for Suda to sit still.
But you'll see some shots that include the theater, so that's why we're showing those again, so you can see the imagery behind it and next to it. So this is the more of an aerial. You'll see now the green space behind the theater. That's extra space that the city is going to retain on the property. And then you can start to see the streetscape all the way down to State Street. I'm just doing this for Suda.
Because I'm gonna cry.
The images in the back here, you'll get close up later, but now you can start to see the colors. We changed the color palette and definitely the architecture of the buildings. That was just after it rained. I don't know why, it looks cool. All right, so now we get into the good stuff. So this is the entry. You'll see the theater on the right. This is the main entry to the community. On the left, you'll see the many, many steps we need to get up to the flood zone. But you'll see now we have a cantilevered porch to really authenticate that style of Florida vernacular. We have shutters on the windows. We have a large porch, all 3 floors. So the loggia, if you will, down below is where the public can transverse. There could be cafe tables and things like that if the live work units so had those tenants. And a great place for signage, we'll show you that as well. But big brackets, big overhangs, a symbol of old Florida. This is a close-up of the same shot. We have a handicap access to get up to this spot because all these units, if they're going to be rented, will need to be handicap accessible by code. So we've accounted for that as well. We also added some landscaping to buffer the step because it's pretty high from existing sidewalk that's there today up to the level that we need to be. Some zoom close-ups here. There's another set. We have, excuse me, we have 7 sets of stairs, so a lot of access points because we didn't want it to be a row of railing that wasn't inviting to invite you up into the area since there's such a difference in grade. So you'll see several sections of wide staircases to be more inviting. You'll see some great signage opportunities there. So it now starts to look to me more like a downtown building. Much more animation on the street too than before. It was a little flatter. This is engaged, it goes front and back, so there's more bounce. Here's zoomed out a little bit. You'll see one of those wide staircases between 2 of the 6plexes. Landscaping, of course, to buffer that step. Here's where it gets to the fun part. This is the gateway. There's the O. We also have a bench that's done in stone that will, if you zoom in, it has Oldsmar etched into the back seat of the seat. There's this close-up, we'll show you that. There's the tower. We're showing some cafe tables and umbrellas. They're not included, but you get the idea that plaza, if we could engage that plaza and activate it as maybe the corner unit has a cafe, there's plenty of room out on that plaza for that kind of activity. And we buffered a little bit from the street with the seat. Here's a little zoom in close up. You can start to see the Oldsmar in the background. Each side of that has kind of a podium. That will be where the signage will go for the community. It currently says Oldsmar Odeon. I don't know the name of it, but that's what we're showing there. So you'll see that on the left and the right of that, signifying you've entered something. You've entered the town, if you will, which was the intent. And that's why we put the artwork there. Even closer zoomed up. Mm-hmm. But that is, you can see it's lit. There's solar panel on top, if you remember the artwork from the submission. And then there's some wood slats that you could actually see to take pictures, Instagram, that kind of stuff, to show you're an Oldsmar with the Oldsmar word in the background. So there's no question what town you pulled into. This is just a few more rendering images. Live work on their own. You can see that's a 6plex. They're repeated. And they're symmetrical. This is another image of the conservation view you saw earlier, zoomed up. Again, more animation than we had before. Again, these are the only units with the one-car garage. There's 20 units, 2 8-plexes and a 4-plex. All still 3 stories, so these interior units are still below flood, so the whole downstairs is garage. The upper 2 floors are living. Really big, huge garages for those car collectors or junk collectors. This is the 4-plex next to the pool, just to more pretty pictures. Lots of landscaping. Here start to see a few aerials as we zoom out. Again, the same shot when you guys are looking later. Don't forget, you'll see this shot the old way. You can really tell the difference. So those rear elevations behind that are where the 2-car garages are. You'll see they're not flat either. So even though they're rear garages, they have a lot of play. We've moved the building out. There's a back porch on there, so that it's not just a flat wall like it used to be. Here's a cool, much more, you can see the plaza now and the fact that we hope it will be a cafe. And then zoomed out even farther. And then lastly is just a kind of an aerial site plan, which also compares to the old ones. You can see the difference. So theoretically, the site itself, the design, the angles, the roadways stayed the same from when you saw in April. It's mainly around how many units are in there and a lot around the architecture of the buildings. And that is all I have for pictures. Any questions?
Right. Anybody have questions before we, I'll go ahead, Vice Mayor.
Just a couple. Thanks for the presentation, John. Could you just remind us what the size range and like bed bath combination will be for the units, tentatively?
Yes, I'm gonna go from memory. They are 3 and 4 bedrooms. Or that's the minimum. There's 3 bedrooms, and the rest are majority are 4 bedrooms. Or downstairs on the 2nd level is a flex space: bedroom, dining room, den, and then up all the 3rd floors are all 3 bedroom. So that's how you get the 3-4 combo. Living area, 2,100 to 2,500 square feet. Living area. That doesn't count the garage because it's not air conditioner. That alone is, I think, in the 1,000 square feet range of the garages on the 2 cars. So that's a big 2-car.
Yeah. And then just one additional question. I didn't see it as a note in the presentation at all. Has there been any substantial changes to the parking? About the same, but.
Yes. The substantial changes were the 2-car garage with 25-foot driveways at each 2-car garage. In addition to that, we have the same amount of guest parking, which is, I think, is 41 spaces, which is well over parked, especially if you're from Hayes Park Village. So every 2-car garage now has a 6-car garage as well as 2 side-by-side spaces that they can park off-street.
Yeah, I think it's a vast improvement.
So yes, it is overkill on the park.
That's all I have, Mike.
Very good. Katie?
Yes, would you be able to return to just that very last slide that you had up, the overview?
Yes.
If it's too much trouble, I could
I'm
probably.
hoping.
I could probably articulate my question. It would be helpful if we had that last slide.
The site, the flat site?
Yeah, the flat, straight from above, the very last slide in this presentation.
Okay.
Oh, Lord. Thank you.
Don't click too fast. Go to the end.
Don't go all the way around now.
I know. Too far.
Well, keep going.
There
Yes,
you go.
stop.
Last one.
Okay, the units that are along the, I guess you could call it the conservation area that kind of leads to the FDOT pond there.
Uh-huh.
Is that a road? Is that ingress, egress back there? Or is that just a gray bar? Just, does that represent anything?
Yes, great question. That is not representing a ditch, but it is a ditch.
Okay.
It's flat, it looks like a road. I did not catch that. I apologize, but that is the ditch. Okay. That is the ditch. That is open ditch. It does stop up front as you get towards State Street. It has a culvert and a cap, and it's different, but there is an open ditch all the way through. So sorry about that.
No, that's what I thought. I just wanted to be sure because I wanted to make sure, of course, that there will be no opening to School Street.
No, definitely not. And also, I thank you for pointing that out. Sure. School Street and the parcel next to it has been removed from this project So it is not a part of the density, it's not part of the project from any improvements at all, it's remaining in natural state.
Okay, then you answered my third question. My second question, though, is as to the, I guess you would call it the Plaza breezeway between the library and the site. Is there any connection with the parking lot to the library parking lot, maybe in that back area? Or is that going to be fenced or completely closed off? How will that work?
So there's two parts. One is and I'll show you here, between the library and the theater, you'll see the walkway. So that's meant to be engaged active public space. So that connection goes from the steps out front all the way to the parking lot. So easy access to the theater. And then currently, this is a staff discussion. Along the parking edge is fenced and landscaped. There is no access to it.
Okay.
There's been talk that there might want to have an emergency access in which it would be only emergencies and it would flow out into I'll show you one of the, oh, shoot.
I know.
I did it.
I know.
Oh, there it is.
There you go.
So you'll see there's only two spots that you can't see from the thing, but if you look on the right-hand side, the very back building, it's probably gonna be tight to push it there. So it's most likely gonna be behind the theater. So if that were to be, but currently there's one entrance and one egress to this community.
Okay, yeah, just kind of back and forth. I had a concern about, public access to what is a private area, but then also the private area and people who live there accessing potentially emergency services, like you said. But, for example, the Mardi Gras fundraiser for the theater program, one more plug, Suda, they'll be in that parking lot, so I'm thinking about, okay, people are gonna live there, but there's also public events right there. And I understand the theater's there as well, but as you get deeper back into the property, I was thinking about the ingress and egress. And thank you for answering my last question, which was about School Street and how the pool would be situated, how far back it would be abutting that property that's on Arlington. Thank you.
Councilmember Saraki.
Thank you. Great presentation. I'm excited about the project. I have two questions, John. First one is you mentioned you had to raise it up. You had to go 6 to 7 steps. In East Lake Oaks, we had a bond to dig out the ponds to get fill to raise the homes to get out of flood zone. How do you plan on putting the fill here? Are you going to bring fill in, or do you have something you're going to, do you have a pond you can dig out, or what are you going to do for fill to bring the buildings up?
Great question, Dan. So the only buildings that will be up on this site are the 3 that are up front. Those will be elevated. That will be backfilled. So the site probably have a little bit of fill, but most of that fill will be imported because this how the drainage for this community is off-site storage. So there'll be no pond on this site. And then all the existing grade, give or take, because there's a good foot or 2 variance, will be where it is today on average for the rest of the units that have the garage downstairs.
Perfect. Second question, is there going to be an HOA or a CDD for this property?
There will be an HOA, but no CDD.
Okay, perfect. That's all I have.
Councilmember Graber.
Most of my questions were asked, thanks. And the updated renderings of the architecture were very helpful. And we actually Felicia and I went side by side. She's like, see the difference? And so it was good to see. And then pushing them up to the property line, and making that space, it's much more engaging, which I didn't realize until you saw the side by sides. So I do appreciate that. The one question I had, and I don't know if this might be a city question, the space behind the theater, you said it won't be grass behind the theater, but the city will retain it. Is there any sort of idea for use, or is that just space basically to allow for what you had said about the theater equipment getting in? And that was the only confusion on my end there.
Great. So you can imagine, excuse me, if you'd imagine where the grass is in the parking lot in the back, you come up to this sidewalk, or to the driveway of the community.
Right.
That rectangle from all the way to St. Pete Drive, all the way to the back of the grass is the city parcel.
Right.
Just for simplicity's sake, I used the same exact Odeon rendering that we used before, and then just made it green grass to show you the extra parcel. So really, when the Odeon Theater is designed, they would use, I'm betting, most of the parcel, with the exception of some landscape and buffer. But we do want to have access to get theater doors and things like that. So I don't know exactly how to answer that question. Besides, that probably won't be grass because the theater will be reshaped
Right,
if you
okay.
will.
That makes more sense.
Yeah, it might not be as wide, but it might be deeper, and it might have an L shape to get the theater equipment in, that kind of thing.
I got you. Okay.
So I just ran out of time, so I didn't try to re-render a imaginary theater.
I won't hold it against you. I was just, I was like, okay. I got confused. I'm like, what are we doing there?
No, it's a great question, because it's different if you look at the two plans. Why is there so much space?
Yep.
It's intended to be used.
Okay, perfect. That's all I had.
All right. I have a couple questions. What do you expect, what are you kind of estimating the units to cost when you finally go to market? Excuse me.
Really?
He was gonna ask. I mean.
Real estate question.
And what other questions do you think are coming after that?
I hit him with the specs first. Now we need to know the price.
Well, today, you can't buy a used house in Oldsmar for under $225 a foot. So they're going to be north of that. So that would put the units, I would guess, in the high fours start. Who knows what will happen when they're delivered?
Right.
Really, but that's my best guess, just to give you an idea.
Okay.
I don't expect it to stay at that level forever. I'll say that publicly, but it seems like it's not going to stop anytime soon.
Got it. What are you all estimating the total cost of this project?
I did this math. I believe it was $38 million.
Okay. Okay. And recognizing where we're at right tonight, it's simply a matter of approving the revised concept plan. We still have a lot of work to go through, which Felicia will talk about in a minute. But from the time that you anticipate, let's assume that we got through a development agreement, what's the timeline in your estimation before you're turning dirt and getting finished?
Well, Mr. Tress has asked for that. To be more specific, I don't have it today, but if you ask my best guess, I see this turning dirt 6 to 9 months from now, because we still have process of engineering and permitting. The builder is super anxious to turn dirt yesterday. So put those two together, and the faster, the better. But this has taken a lot longer than any of us thought, as you probably knew. I didn't. Even though I've been around here a long time. It was April when we had the idea, right? Just the idea. It's almost April again, and we haven't turned dirt yet, so I feel behind schedule. If they turn dirt, it's got a 6 to 9 month horizontal infrastructure build, and then the first units start. So you're looking at, to me, a minimum of a year before you'd see anything vertical.
Got it. John, the sidewalk, this is kind of a detailed question. The sidewalk along St. Pete, I know you had to make some changes to it because of the elevation issue. How deep is that sidewalk next to the work here units?
Okay, so the sidewalk that's shown here at the level of the parking is currently between 5 and 6 feet wide. That's existing as of today. It does have some curves and things that will have to be changed. And then the plaza, what they call the plaza level, that is a minimum of 10 feet, because we can't push the building back any farther than 10 feet. So it's 10 feet at the minimum, and then there's an offset there for a couple of recesses for doors, but generally speaking, it's 10 feet.
Okay. Okay. And then I don't know if there was any changes made to it, but what's the intended or target square footage for the work units?
They are 400 to 600 square feet. They're very similar to what they were before. I don't have the exact number handy. They're actually on those drawings that you almost got to see.
Bring them up.
So close.
Close. All right.
They're public record, I believe. They've been submitted, so
Yeah,
they just
let's
weren't part of the
just submit it as
presentation
public
tonight, but they're on there. So you can see each unit has their own, each unit has all the square footages, the bedrooms, you name it.
And you still envision that the placement of the larger, I would assume more closer to the 600 square foot, those units are more likely to be on corners.
They are.
And that type of stuff, with the goal of being able to have some type of cafe or you know, whatever that might be, I would assume.
Yes,
Okay.
that is correct.
All right, I don't have any other questions, so thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Good job. Good job. All right, so at this point, what I'll do is I'll entertain a motion to approve the revised concept plan.
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Give the reasons for my motion, should you desire.
No, listen, this still has a long, no offense, Mr. Hughes, still has quite a few steps to go through, but,
Yeah.
all right. If there's no other discussion, sensing you're ready to vote, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. All right. I'm going to go, next item on the agenda is approve the approach for public open house regarding downtown development projects, new agenda item. And I'm going to turn us over to our, I don't know why I just wanted to say city attorney, city manager.
You can be both.
I don't think so. Approve the approach for the public open houses regarding downtown development projects. At the January 4th City Council meeting, there was consensus regarding the need for public open houses for downtown development within the town center area. There was a consensus to host 3 meetings, each at different location with a diversity of times prior to the approval of a development agreement. City manager recommends the following approach to be applied to both city-owned properties known as the library site and the city hall site. City manager recommends adding an additional step to the development agreement process. Number 1, after the city manager determines that a mutually acceptable agreement has been reached, the city manager presents the essential terms of the agreement in outline form to council. This is where another step is recommended to be inserted. Number 2, the public open houses would be conducted. Number 3, the council reviews the public comment from the open houses and the essential terms. If approved, council votes to proceed with the creation of a development agreement and directs the city attorney to reduce terms to contractual form. The next step, number 4, city attorney creates a development agreement. City manager transmits development agreement to planning board with the city manager's written recommendation. Planning board reviews and makes a recommendation to council within 30 days. Number 5, council conducts 2 public hearings. Number 6, the development agreement is executed.
Thank you. All right, we had this informal discussion before, and we asked them to go ahead and put it in writing, lay it out. All right, so is there any questions of Felicia? All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve the recommendation.
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion, a second discussion.
Can I just make a suggestion here? I think it would be helpful to discuss the number of public open houses so that we can add that to the code too, whether it's going to be 1, 2, 3, or more. If we have something specific in it, it's going to be a lot easier to impose upon the developer later on. You have to have 2 public open houses or 3 or whatever it is. So my suggestion is we just add a number, whatever is appropriate.
Okay.
Would you like me to withdraw my motion or amend it?
I'd amend it.
Okay, I'll amend my motion, including 3 public open houses.
Okay.
On item number 2 as presented.
All right. So you've amended it. I guess we need to vote on the amendment. Made that in the way of a motion?
Yes, sir.
All right. So we have a motion and a second.
Second the
We have a
amendment.
motion and a second. Discussion. Sensing you're ready to vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? We'll go back to the main motion. Any discussion?
If we settled on 3, I think it's a good idea. And having
3
it
it is.
specifically stated in there, that's fantastic.
Yep. All right. All right, since you're ready to vote, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the consent docket, which will be announced by our city clerk, Ann Nixon.
Item number 4, accept resignation of Patricia Lampier from the Leisure Services Advisory Board. Item number 5, accept resignation of Corey Knowles from the Veterans Advisory Board. Item number 6, approve waiving bid requirements and award the purchase of a Toro Groundsmaster mower from Westco Turf under the same pricing terms and conditions of Omnia Partners Contract Number 2017-025, Piggyback 17-209B. Item number 7, approve waiving bid requirements and award contract for sanitary sewer rehabilitation services to Vortex Services LLC under the same pricing terms and conditions as the City of Tallahassee, Florida Contract Number 4523, piggyback 22-007. And item number 8, approve minutes of the January 18, 2022 council meeting.
Would anyone like to pull anything? All right, at this time, the chair will entertain a motion to approve as presented.
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Discussion?
Our many, many thanks to Pat Lampier and Corey Knowles. I was on the Leisure Services Advisory Board with Pat. She was on that board for many, many years. And I know Corey was only on the Veterans Advisory Board for a short period of time, but we are very grateful for his service. And I look forward to seeing who else we can add to that board.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, they certainly, we appreciate their service to the city.
I would just like to second what Katie said.
Yeah, very good. You mean you want to second the second?
Yeah, well, no, what she said, I was gonna say, because Pat was amazing.
Yeah.
I remember when I first got on that board, she was there.
She was there, yeah.
So.
Yeah, all right.
Wonderful lady.
Sensing you're ready to vote, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, motion passes. Next item on the agenda, we actually already did item number 9. We're going to go to item number 10, approval of reappointment of Brian Mahoney as a city representative on the Firefighter Pension Board. The chair will entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? Second. I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Nope. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you, Mr. Mahoney.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Sensing you're ready to vote, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, motion passes. Next item on the agenda is city attorney, item number 11.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a public hearing for the first reading of ordinance 2022-02, amending section 70-263 of chapter 70 of the Code of Ordinances to revise the requirement for dental facilities that remove or replace amalgam fillings in pretreatment process. I'm going to go ahead and read a portion of the memo that was provided to you in your packet. As background, the Florida Department of Environmental Protection informed the city staff during a recent inspection that the city is required to amend section 70-263 of chapter 70 of the city's code to revise requirements for dental facilities that remove or replace amalgam fillings in the pretreatment process. The City Code of Ordinances needs these modifications to remain compliant with Chapter 62-625 of the Florida Administrative Code. You may remember this. We did this once before. They were satisfied with it before. They're not satisfied with it now, so we're doing it again. So I'm going to go ahead and read this ordinance.
Government.
Ordinance 2022-02, an ordinance of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, amending Section 70-263 of Chapter 70 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Oldsmar to revise requirements for dental facilities that remove or replace amalgam fillings in the pretreatment process and providing for an effective date of this ordinance. That was the first reading of Ordinance 2022-02 by title only. Nan, is there anything else that you wanted to add that I didn't cover? Okay.
Okay, this is a public hearing. Is there any remarks from the city manager?
No.
Nope. And we have no staff presentation. There is no applicant, so I will go ahead and open the public hearing. Is anyone from the public who wishes to speak on this? Seeing that there is none, I will go ahead and close the public hearing. At this time, like I said, there is no applicant, so I will entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Graber?
Yes.
Councilmember Saraki?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Knapp?
Yes.
Councilmember Gannon?
Yes.
Mayor Sedell?
Yes.
First reading of ordinance 2022-02, amending section 70-263 of chapter 70 of the Code of Ordinances to revise requirements for dental facilities that remove or replace amalgam fillings in pretreatment process, passes with 5 votes for and 0 against.
Thank you. Item number 12.
Thank you. On the January 4th, 2020 council meeting, during council comments, there was discussion about reviewing the council policies and procedures. Since that date, I, along with the city clerk and a couple of council members, have suggested some changes to the rules of procedure. They're listed here, 1 through 15. We can go through them one by one if you'd like. Some of them came about just by rereading the rules themselves, and some of them were actually, again, suggestions. I've handed out before the meeting tonight some rules of procedure that were adopted in the cities of Bel Air, Indian Rocks Beach, Madeira Beach, Reddington Shores, and the city of Tarpon Springs, so that you could take a look at them if you want. And I can go through some of these suggested changes and the references to where we actually pulled them from different city rules. So I'm not sure where you want to start.
Well, here's what I would suggest. I understand that there is some general consensus amongst the council that perhaps this might be a good item for us to look at the beginning of the year or beginning of, when we're going through council priorities and perhaps a little bit of fine tuning where maybe it's a document we update every year. So that would be something that would take place typically with the council workshop that we do every year.
Or the, yeah. Or
Planning
workshop.
conference?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I think that's probably the consensus. Do we have a consensus on that with everyone?
I think that's a good idea because I'd really like to review some of these and compare them to our current rules and procedures. Thank you for providing these, and Tom.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I want to read through all of it.
Yeah, workshop, definitely.
One thing I want to tell you, I'll go ahead and send out a follow-up email to let you all know in regards to each one of these items, where they appear in other rules of procedure. So that may be a good starting point for you to look at. And I'm not saying that those provisions are any better than ours, but they're just informational purposes. You may say, hey, I like that kind of thing. So I had written notes to myself as to where they're located in those ones that I handed out, but I'll provide that to you so that you're prepared for that planning session meeting.
Very good.
Okay.
Very good.
Awesome.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you. Anything else?
That's all I have. Thanks.
Very good. All right. City Manager, item 13.
Item number 13, adopt resolution 2022-02, revising the budget for fiscal year 2021-2022. Attached is resolution 2022-02, revision of the annual budget for fiscal year 2021-2022. The general fund and water sewer operating fund require adjustment at this time. In the general fund, the city clerk has requested additional appropriations of $15,000 to cover ordinance codification and costs relating to the upcoming municipal election on March 15, 2022. The Parks Division has requested an additional $50,000 to address sidewalk repairs throughout several city parks. General fund contingency reserve of $65,000 will be utilized to fund the additional appropriations for the ordinance codification, election costs, and park sidewalk repairs throughout the city. Also in the general fund, the Planning and Redevelopment Department has requested an additional $50,000 in expenditures to cover unbudgeted permit inspection fees and review services due to Pinellas County as part of the transition to the new building services agreement with the county. The additional appropriations for these contractual services will be offset by $50,000 of related revenue received by the city for permits that were initiated prior to September 1st, 2021, the effective date of the new agreement with Pinellas County. In the Water Sewer Operating Fund, the Distribution and Collection Division has requested an upgrade to the vacant Field Operations Assistant position, which is a grade 37, to a new position, the Utility Operations Coordinator, which is a grade 40. This new position will not require additional appropriations due to vacancies and will better align with the operational needs of the department. The Water Reclamation Facility Division is requesting a temporary position, Special Projects Manager, to assist with the transition to the new Public Works Director. Additional appropriations of $55,000 will be needed to fund this temporary position through the end of the fiscal year. This adjustment will be funded utilizing Water Sewer Operating Fund reserves. Reading the resolution by title only, Resolution 2022-02, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, revising the budget for fiscal year beginning October 1, 2001, and ending September 30th, 2021, and ending September 30th, 2022. Authorizing the City Manager and Director of Administrative Services to revise the existing budget.
Very good. The chair will entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
I have a motion. I have a second.
Second.
Motion, second. Discussion?
Already moving the money around.
I see that.
Let's just move.
Just like that.
No, these were all expected kind of things. No surprises.
We're in trouble. Our time.
Item number 14.
No, not yet. We want to vote on this.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right.
Just like us, get it done, just get it done, get it done.
Staff recommend approval? They do. All right. We have a motion. We have a second. Discussion? I'm sorry. Since you're ready to vote, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Now item 14.
What's next?
Item 13. Done. It's okay now.
Item 14.
We're good.
All right.
It had to do with money. We gotta,
Right. Approve the special event application fee waiver request for a tribute to the troops event to be held on Sunday, February 27th, 2022. Tribute to the Troops events have previously taken place in Veterans Memorial Park to raise awareness of the sacrifices made by American fallen heroes and their families. This event will consist of a motorcycle ride to the park, followed by a presentation and memorial in the promenade area. The event is scheduled from 1 to 3 p.m. and is estimated to draw close to 40 participants. In accordance with the City of Oldsmar Special Event Guide, Tribute to the Troops is requesting a fee waiver associated with this event in the amount of $100. A copy of the application is attached for your review. Staff recommends approval.
The Chair will entertain a motion to approve. I have a motion. Do I have a second? A motion and a second. Any discussion? Sensing you're ready to vote, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Item 15, please.
Approve the special event application fee waiver request for the Dunedin Music Society, Inc. Pinellas Festival of Community Bands event to be held on Saturday, April 9th, 2022. The Dunedin Music Society has held community musical events around Pinellas County since 2017, including concerts, workshops, and festivals. They are interested in extending their reach to Oldsmar by hosting the Pinellas Festival of Community Bands. This free event would include bands such as the Dunedin Concert Band, Pinellas Community Players, St. Petersburg Community Band, and the Gulfport Gecko Amalgamated Marching Band, to name a few. This unique musical event is expected to attract over 1,700 participants and spectators to R.E. Olds Park and the downtown area, and would add to the city's well-established reputation for live shows. In accordance with the City of Oldsmar Special Event Guide, the Dunedin Music Society, Inc. is requesting a fee waiver associated with this event in the amount of $1,070. All other external costs, including utility fees of $60, will be the event organizer's responsibility as outlined within the application. Copy of the application is attached for review. Staff recommends approval.
The Chair will entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion, second. Discussion?
Really cool.
I think it's very cool.
Yeah.
And they came to us too.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great.
Bring them over. Come on over to Oldsmar.
Right, sure.
Love to have 1,700 people at the park with music.
All right, sensing you're ready to vote, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
I got one question.
Go right ahead.
Felicia, are they gonna have food trucks or what's the plan? Do you know, or?
Yes,
Okay.
the plan is to have some sort of food trucks.
The plan is yes.
Gotta know about food.
I don't know what
Saraki's gotta
kind.
know
I
about
was
the
just
food.
curious, because it's exciting.
Yeah.
Saraki needs to know about the food. It's okay. It's all right. It's all right.
Let's see, we already voted on that, so, City Manager, do you have anything else?
No, sir, thank you.
That's all right, all right. City Clerk, item 16.
16, discuss appointing the canvassing board for the March 15, 2022 municipal election. The city charter provides for city council to appoint themselves or qualified electors as needed to serve on the canvassing board for municipal elections. Historically, city council appoints themselves as a canvassing board. The canvassing board will convene March 22, 2022 at 6:00 p.m. As Mayor Seidel and council member Saraki are candidates in the March 15th municipal election, they should not sit on the canvassing board. The city clerk is asking for a name from each council member to approach to fill the 2 vacancies. And the mayor. Should Mayor Seidel's or Councilmember Saraki's recommendations be unable to sit on the board, then the city clerk will contact one of the remaining names as alternates. A citizen sitting on the canvassing board must be a qualified elector who has lived in the city of Oldsmar for at least 1 year. Council will adopt a resolution appointing the canvassing board at the February 15th council meeting.
Very good. All right, do you need action on that? Was that a recommendation?
Some names.
By right now?
For view and a name
I'll get you some by tomorrow.
All right, but it doesn't require any action from the council, correct?
I will email Felicia and Ann my person tomorrow, and it's not gonna be Paul.
As long as
I was
have-
gonna nominate Amber, but,
As long as I have the names by any day Friday, then I can get the resolution done
Perfect.
and the agenda items
all
set
right,
up.
very good. All
Okay.
right, any other
Just one
business?
name. Okay.
Any other business?
No, I don't have anything else.
Excellent. Item 7.
Thank you, Ann.
Thank you, Ann. Council comments. I'm going to start with Councilmember Graber tonight.
Thank you, Mayor. Sigh of relief from Councilmember Saraki for some reason. Science Saturday got moved. I'm not sure why. 42 degrees seemed awesome last Saturday.
Water.
Let's get wet and dirty and 42. So I was going to bring my 5-year-old, and then I said, I don't know if that's awesome parenting. Mom signed off on it, but I was like, I'm not sure. But it's been rescheduled to this Saturday from 9 to, I want to say 11. Is that correct? At RE Olds. So we will certainly be there for that. The Super Party, February 12th. I've never been, so I'm actually really excited to go. And one thing that we received in the mail, if anybody hadn't seen it yet, or if you didn't get your copy, Sorry, Katie.
Like taking every.
I'm taking
Go ahead,
everything?
go ahead.
Seriously?
No.
The ballot questions came out with explanations, with lots of different things on there. Please take a minute to read through it, because right now you have time to ask questions about them and find out more information if you wanted to go digging on your own. So it's certainly glad the city did that it's out there for sure. The candidates forum, to all 4 of you who participated, thought it went really well, especially given the format. I could tell all 4 of you were speaking and trying to project to everybody who was watching, which I know is a difficult task, but congratulations, all 4 of you. I thought each one of you did a fantastic job. That's all I had, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Strachey.
Thank you. First of all, the charter review questions that Mr. Graber just brought up, Councilmember Graber, the citizens of the city, don't be afraid to call us. I think we all agree with that, right? Feel free to call us if you have any questions. We'll be happy to answer that. Any questions? The new pop art thing, I just want to mention that I think this is a great idea. I'm really excited about this. I want to get my grandkids on here, and I really like this idea. The last thing I want to say is, Tom, your prayer today was exceptional. Excellent. Loretta, I don't even know how to describe her. She was just a special person in our community. I met her probably in like 2009-10 when at the Historical Society. Her and I served on the board together, was involved there. In 2013, she was really someone who she came to my door, she knocked on my door when she was running for city council, and I got to meet her. I invited her into my home, and she is really someone who got me involved in city council. And in 2013, she came to my little meet and greet, and that's when I really got to know her, and really, really helped me with becoming a council member. And I just want to say that my condolences to the family, and I'm gonna miss her dearly. That's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Gainan.
Thank you, Mayor. Very nice words, Dan. Councilmember Graber essentially read my mind. He brought up several of the things that I was going to mention. I know Anne worked especially hard on this, and Tom worked especially hard on the language in here. And it was very cool to receive this in the mail. It's not on a website. It's something that people can read, they can mark, take with them when they go to vote, if they go vote in person, or have it right next to them. And I really appreciated the revised text should the question pass, like the complete description of each of the consequences, as opposed to just, here's the language, yes, no. You know, I appreciated the more context. I could more easily understand this than I can understand our Florida constitutional amendments that appear in the general election ballot. So big thank you for that. New Experience Oldsmar magazine. I love when this comes out. We'll be hitting everybody's doors this week, according to our city manager's email blast that went out today. This is a really cool, when you get it, take a look at the Oldsmar in Orbit Planet Walk. This is a really, really neat issue that talks about Nicole Stott, an actual astronaut, and about placement in Oldsmar of different landmarks as part of an orbit around, like, as the planets. Okay, well, you'll read it, you'll get it. I can tell you're enthused, Mayor. And just, you know, I remember mentioning at the January council meeting, my little Jackson at the breakfast with Santa, and I see on the back of it lots of pictures of Santa's friends.
And his friends.
And right there in the middle, that's let's see here. There we go. That's my little Jackson with his cool reindeer that he made that isn't really a reindeer. And you know, I just really appreciate leisure services and communication marketing and the arts. I've seen a lot of events coming out, especially being promoted on Facebook and our new platform on Nextdoor, as well as Instagram and Twitter. And I know that's a lot of work, like a full-time job for somebody who already has a full-time job, but I think it's really paying off. I've seen people already participating in the what did we call it? I don't want to misstate it. the Pets Photo Contest. People already saw the Pets Photo Contest, and they're entering pictures of their pets in Oldsmar on Instagram or Twitter. You can also submit it via the city's website. Facebook doesn't work with the algorithm, but just things like that. The family game night, and other leisure services, and the teen game night, the gaming on the computer. Just ways that we're integrating leisure services into communication, into the arts. It's all kind of coming together, and I really appreciate that. The public art survey, I think, is another example of communication and art and leisure services, everything kind of coming together. And I really appreciate that sort of holistic approach of all of our city departments as opposed to individual departments. I will definitely be submitting my puzzle piece. Very cool. Thank you, Lisa Schmid, for cutting them all out on your Cricut. Is it Cricut or Cricut?
Cricket.
In any event, she cut out a lot of puzzle pieces.
Look at you.
Well done, Tom.
Our city attorney knows?
Yeah.
All right. Well, he is on the up and up. Thank you, Tom, for these. I'm a lawyer by day, and I really appreciate the opportunity to review the procedures of other municipalities to see what they're doing. Not necessarily, like you said, that it's better or worse than ours, just different. And the opportunity to review our procedures annually, I think, is a really great idea because there's always new things happening, and we always learn, and we need to incorporate that into our every, twice a month meetings. So in any event, I look forward to seeing everybody on second Friday. Thanks.
Vice Mayor.
Everybody.
Thank you, Mayor. I just have a few things. I'm going to start a little on the more serious side and end on a relatively lighthearted note. So first off, there's been prior mentions at meetings here as well as in the online realm about misinformation surrounding different things being claimed or thrown out there about projects being considered. So I felt compelled to try to address some of that because we've been somewhat challenged to say, well, what is it? So here we go. First off, a lot of times I hear that people tend to say that the Galleria building is empty. Well, that's, I don't think, fairly true. I did a quick drive-by and calculation this evening, and it actually only has about 2 units empty, and most of it is owner-occupied by the medical office that's there. So there's only 2 units for lease right now, so I think that's actually pretty good. Maybe it's not as exciting and engaging as what the public may want, but it is occupied, so that's good for that building. If you're interested in opening a business, there's 2 units for lease, so just keep that in mind. Second, there's been a lot of, I think, random numbers sometimes thrown out surrounding what may transpire next door over here. But as it's presented right now to us as a council, it's 316 units. That may change, but I don't foresee it changing by more than a few. So just want to put that to bed, I hope, because I've seen numbers as high as thrown out as 400 or 500 units, and I don't think that is by any means true. Third, in relation to misinformation, is I sometimes hear from other folks that there may be plans to change density in other parts of the town, or that the current density change applies to more than what it really does. And so I just, again, want to make that abundantly clear that right now it is for the single strip between State Street and Tampa Road and nothing more. There are no plans through the city. If any private landowner has the intent to seek a higher density, well, that has not yet to come before council. So if it does, then we will address it at that time. So enough about that, misinformation, done. Second, right before the meeting tonight, I kind of came to light thinking forward to our next meeting. We have for Leadership Pinellas the Tallahassee trip scheduled the 14th through the 16th. So I just hope that I may have the blessing of the council to attend that versus being here for our meeting on the 15th. So just want to make you all aware, keep it in the back of your mind moving forward. And then finally, the lighthearted note. My in-laws are now officially Floridians, so I wanted to say an official welcome. No, they are not Oldsmar residents, they are now Florida residents. So welcome, Donald and Patricia, to Florida. Hope you enjoy your many years ahead in retirement here in Florida. Thank you, Mayor. That's all I have.
Very good. I was just going to mention a few things. Number one, I wanted to thank the Women League of Voters and the Chamber for the forum they put on. I thought it went well, and all of us You know, it was a different format, but everything seems to be different these days. So, but I think it went real well. Also, just a reminder, we do have the art exhibit going on across over at City Hall, Stitched. Some of us were over there earlier, and there's really fascinating quilt work over there. So I would encourage you to go take a look. Certainly, Loretta, you know, I go back years when I first got on council and first ran for council, and I think she said to me, I might even have voted for you if you weren't running against my friend. And then she told me she wasn't, you know, and that was Loretta, you know, and so she'll be missed. She definitely will be missed. And then, you know, I was really hoping this morning that this was another case of misinformation when I heard about Tom Brady. But unfortunately, that turned out to be true. And so we'll just wish him well and thank him for a couple of good years. And we'll be just fine. But in any event, all right, that's all I got. You guys covered everything else already. All right, so I'm going to go on to item number 18, approve the tentative agenda for February 15th, 2022 council meeting. Does anybody wish to pull anything?
Sure.
Nope. Sensing you're ready to vote, somebody give me a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion.
I got a motion, I got a second. Any discussion? Sensing you're ready to vote, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move.
I have a motion.
Second.
I have a second. It doesn't require a vote, and we are adjourned.
Felicia started it.
She did. I'm blaming her.
Andrew.